Have you ever felt the system stacked against you? Like no matter how hard you grind, the rules are rigged for someone else to win? Well, today I'm going to show you something powerful. The system might be broken, but that doesn't mean you are. It's time to outplay the player. Welcome to Church Perspective. We talk real life, real struggles, and real solutions. And right now, there's a system that's designed to make people fail. But history shows us that people have flipped the script before, using wisdom, faith, and strategy to achieve victory against a designed system which was designed for you to fail. We want to talk about that today. How to outplay the player in a system that has wreaked havoc for centuries, designed by men who have established plans of oppression and plans to cause certain groups of people to fail. And so we must challenge ourselves to get educated and to get empowered. And we want you to stick around at the end of this video to learn some of the techniques and methods to overcome a system that was created and designed for you to fail. Now, I know that many people will say, no, that's not a system designed for the failure. You got to work the system or the system works you. Well, I can tell you one thing, that when you look around, when we use the word system, I assure you that there are many different systems, and these systems rapidly change depending on who or what they may address. There's a system for brown and black. There's a system for white. There's a system for Asians. And many other groups of people. There are systems that they are challenged by. And the rule of thumb in overcoming these systems is we must empower ourselves and do things in such a way to keep our progress going forward instead of hindering ourselves. We must educate ourselves. We must get informed. We must know what's going on. We must ask questions. We must not just sit around passively and allow these systems of life to overtake us just because it was designed and created by someone that never asked a question, never got a chance to know you or understand you or your culture, never even wanted you to be a part. But just because there's a system, it doesn't mean that that system has to overtake you. So we're going to talk about that today. The first step in overtaking the system, we must do certain things. We must do things that will challenge us or empower us, to encourage us to keep going forward. You know, the Bible tells us that we must forget about things that are behind and press towards those things that are ahead. Now, many times people hear that scripture and they misinterpret it. It's not telling you to just totally wipe your memory clean or wipe your memory with a clean slate and just forget where you came from. Because as I and many can attest before me, if you don't know where you came from, most likely you're not going to know where you're going. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to recognize the rigged system. The first step to outplaying the player is seeing the game for what it really is. The system isn't broken because of you. It's broken for the benefit of someone else. And historically, we can find a wonderful example. One that many don't want to talk about, but one that will hit home today, that will make many people feel uncomfortable. So here it is. During slavery and Jim Crow, African Americans faced laws and societal structures built to suppress them. Yet leaders like Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass learned the rules and found ways to navigate them strategically. They did this through a process of education, entrepreneurship, and advocacy. And furthermore, Scripture supports this. Proverbs 22 and 29 tells us, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. Mastery," hear this, mastery of your craft gives you leverage in a system that seems unfair. Mastery of your craft gives you leverage in a system that remains unfair. Mastery of your craft gives you leverage in a system that is designed to make you fail. The second thing we want to talk about today is we've got to flip the script. We know it was designed to cause failure, but we've got to flip the script. We've got to turn that failure and use it to our advantage and take the failure and turn it inside out and make it success. You know, outplaying the system, as many of us should understand, it isn't about breaking the system. It's about bending the system in your favor. When the rules are stacked against you, you learn how to play smarter, not just harder. And historically, we find an example during the Civil Rights Movement. We'll find that ordinary citizens outplayed a system designed to deny them voting rights by creating alternative strategies, like the Freedom Summer Vote drives, where organizers educated and mobilized Black communities despite violent opposition. Does that sound familiar? We'll find, again, in Scripture, Matthew 10, verse 16 tells us, "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." You can be strategic and clever while staying righteous. Let me say that again. You can be strategic and clever while remaining righteous. We're dealing with a system that is designed to make you fail. There was an old saying that I used to hear my grandfather and all of his buddies say when they would hover around and they would talk about things going on in the community and life in general. And I remember them talking about oppression and how things were going in their lives, that no matter what they did, it seemed that things were stacked against them. And one of the strategies that they had, I used to hear them say, "We're going to survive this if we've got to crook the crook." And in society today, you'll find that there's a lot of crooking the crook going on. And sometimes the crook has to crook the crook who crooks the crook, who turns around and then crooks another crook. But no matter how many crooks there are, one thing tied to all of those crooks is a system of leverage. And we've got to flip the script on that system of leverage and do it in such a way, and most of all, do it in such a way that it's legal. We want to do it informed. We want to make informed decisions and be wise about how we move, when we move, what we know, and what we don't know. In other words, in all of this understanding, what we're really doing is we're building an unshakable skill. And in the process of that unshakable skill, we're building knowledge. You see, why is that so important? You see, the system wants you distracted. It wants you undereducated and dependent. The solution is this. And all of that distraction and all of that getting rid of education and all of that creating dependency. We have to empower ourselves with knowledge and discipline and skill. Many of us already have that, but you've got to utilize it. Sitting on it does you no good. We can't be armchair quarterbacks in a game that has been played for so long. We've got to outplay the player. So while you're sticking around listening to this video and heading towards the conclusion of this video, subscribe so we can increase our followers, so we can continue to ship out and to pour out this education and information, whether it be in faith, whether it be in religion, whether it be in life struggles and achievement and success, and because we want forward progress for you. So subscribe. Hit that like button and subscribe. Let us continue. In building that unshakable skill and knowledge, we find one of the greatest examples, an example that can be used by anyone. Madam C.J. Walker. That's a household name. She was born to parents who were former slaves. But what did she do? She used her knowledge of hair care to build America's first black female-owned millionaire business. She turned a personal challenge into a systematic advantage. Scripture tells us in Ecclesiastes 9, verse number 10, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Excellence becomes your power in a system that underestimates you. That's why it's so important that we learn the fourth thing. You got to use your network in faith. Why is that so important? Why? Because no one outplays the system alone. Look at the power of your community. Look at the power of your mentorship and your alliances and faith-based support. All of these things create leverage, good leverage that the system can't account for. When you put these things in place, the system that was created on an algorithm to cause you to fail is now overtaken because you have given it something that it cannot identify with. Historically, we find an example. In the Underground Railroad, there was a network of people working together to subvert a system designed to keep them enslaved. Their victory wasn't in defiance alone. It was in strategic collaboration. We have to collaborate with one another. Scripture tells us in Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 through 10, two are better than one. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. Strength multiplies when we work together. Let me say that again. Strength multiplies when you work together. The fifth thing, we can achieve victory against all that we've talked about today. Victory against the system. Victory isn't defined by whether the system is fair. Victory is when you rise despite the rules being rigged against you. We know the fight has been fixed. Many a times it's not fixed in our favor, but we can overcome that. How? We can create opportunities where there are none. And when you prove the system wrong by doing this, you're overcoming a system that could not identify one important thing. You have true value and true skill. A wonderful example of this is Thurgood Marshall, who challenged the legal system in the U.S. and became the first black Supreme Court justice, proving that mastery, courage, and faith can overturn systematic barriers. Scripture supports this. Romans 8:37 tells us that in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Let me say that again. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. You can be more than a survivor. Why? Because you're more than a conqueror. So let me say this in closing. The system may try to play you, but you can outplay the system. How do you do that? Recognize it, learn it, and master your craft. Network wisely, strategic collaborations, and walk in faith. We've done it before. Your victory doesn't require the system to change. It requires you to rise above it And when you rise above the system, you change the system that didn't want you to change. Remember, it's not you that's broken. The system is broken. And you have to let it know by rising above it that you know how to outplay the player. If you're ready to start outplaying the player, subscribe to Church Perspective. Share this message with someone else. Pass it along. Someone needs this video today. They need to hear this message. Be the one that would give them a gift today from Church Perspective. And comment below. Subscribe to our channel. We have much more to share with you, and we hope to see you again. I want to ask you this question before we leave, and I want you to pin your comments down below. Subscribe, and then pin your comments down below. What's one way you're flipping the script in your life this year? I'm your host, James Church. This is Church Perspective. Until next time, we love you, and we look forward to seeing you.